So the rematch between Volk and Diego Lopes at UFC 325 just took place, and if I'm being honest, this fight never should have even been made. What was the reason for it? It seems like the UFC wanted Lopes to be the champion. Volk is old, and rather than him either losing to Evloev, which he wouldn't, I think Volk would actually win that fight, but they don't want to risk Evloev being the champion or Volk winning and retiring on his own terms. Then the belt would be vacant and it takes a little bit of the prestige away. They would rather another fighter build some of their star power off of beating somebody like Volk. But he didn't deserve to fight Volk right now. He somehow made it look even easier this time than last time. I had thought that Diego would be Volk's toughest fight out of either Evloev or Murphy. The reason for this is because he's got a chin of steel and he's got power in his hands, and that's the only way I see Volk losing. He would have to get knocked out. And of course, watching Volk get knocked out in back-to-back fights has put that thought in our head, right? Even though the guy he got knocked out by is one of the hardest hitting 45ers of all time, and the other guy head kicked him up a weight class on 10 days notice. So maybe we shouldn't be so worried about Volk getting knocked out by just anybody, but I did think that Diego had that chance. But after watching that fight, I don't know. I had said that it feels like the UFC would just give Lopes as many chances as he needs until he finally catches Volk. But how many fights would that be? I don't think he can catch Volk. He came across as too timid in his last fight against Volk, and I thought, there's no way he lets that happen again. He won't let this chance slip by him next time he gets a shot. He got a shot faster than I expected, and he did let it slip by again. It's interesting to think about it, but a rematch actually just favors Volk. He gets more data on you, and being one of the smartest fighters, he puts together an even better game plan the next time he fights you. I'm so disappointed in Lopes because it seemed like he was okay with how the fight was going, and I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to be aggressive like we had never seen before from the opening bell, but he didn't even fight with the urgency later on in the fight when it was clear that he was down and needed a finish. He could beat a Lerone Murphy or Movsar Evloev, and he still wouldn't get a title shot. It's going to take a lot of work for me to say, yeah, Diego Lopes should fight for the title next. It's going to take a lot. It would be his third shot. So this fight should have never been made in the first place. It should have been Evloev or Murphy, and now it should be one of those guys fights Volk, while one of them will get left out, and they should fight John Silva to determine who's next in line for the title. I hope Dana White would admit he's wrong as well, but he won't. He was asked about fans saying that this fight shouldn't have happened and it wasn't deserved by Lopes, and his response was, just don't watch the fight. The hype for this event seemed pretty low considering the fact we didn't get UFC events for 6 weeks. Getting back-to-back numbered events should cause the hype to be at an all-time high, and it didn't feel like it was. So I guess some people did take his advice and they didn't watch the fight. He always talks about fans who judge the fights before they happen, and after the fights end up being amazing, he always makes sure to let it be known the amount of people who were giving him a hard time. Well, what about now? Were all those people who were saying this fight should have never happened right? Dana won't admit it, but every single person who said this fight was a waste of time, it was unnecessary, and it was not deserved by Lopes was right. This is bad for Lopes as well, and it's not even really his fault. It kills the hype for me. He's one of the most entertaining fighters, but this hurts his stock. I'm not trying to be one of the boxing guys, but it's true. A fighter gets one loss in boxing and everybody treats it like it's the end of the world. I know it doesn't work like that here. A guy can lose and still come back from that, no problem. I mean, just look at how many losses Charles Oliveira has. It doesn't matter. But losing twice in his title fights and in the manner that he did, which was him not being aggressive enough and feeling too timid, Lopes is a guy that everybody wants to see fight. But these 2 losses to Volk definitely hurt the stock. Since the title shot was undeserved, it causes hate to go Lopes' way. It's not his fault for taking the fight. Of course he's going to take a title shot when it gets offered to him. But when the fans start to feel that a fighter is getting treated better than other fighters, then hate's going to come their way. And one of the most entertaining fighters in the UFC just doesn't need all that unnecessary hate. This also just causes a backlog. We're all behind now. One of Evloev or Murphy should have got to fight Volk, while the other fights Lopes in a number 1 contenders fight. But instead, we got Lopes getting a title shot again. I mean, I guess I should just listen to what Dana says. He was asked about whether he's worried about fighters thinking that rankings don't matter when it comes to title shots. And his answer to the question was just no. He gave a one-word answer. So clearly, they don't care about who deserves a title shot and who doesn't. They're going to give it to whoever they want. Volk still looks like the only way to beat him is if you catch him and put him away. You're not going to outpoint him. It's crazy to say this about a 37-year-old in one of the lower weight classes, You don't usually see someone of that age still at the top in that division. We see older champions at light heavyweight and heavyweight, of course, but it is extra impressive when done in the lower weight classes. I think he solidified his status as the greatest featherweight of all time. He did it before this fight, but there's just no questions about it now. I hope Volk keeps fighting and doesn't retire because he still has contenders to face. One of the contenders should have already been out of the way, but we had to watch this fight, and it is what it is. But at least for any doubters that still existed, at least they now know just how great Volk is. Until next time.